So that was a look at our storyboard and pre-visualization. I hope the story is clear for everyone. Do you think the story was very clear?
Yeah, we can read the chat there. No. Story for me is clear. Okay. Yeah.
So good that the story is clear. Now Joanna will continue and explain through the storyboard.
Exactly. Before I do that, I want to go a bit deeper into the background of our whole story. As Twan mentioned before, our story takes place during World War II, and we want to show what happened during October 1944, where Hengelo got bombed by the Allies. Hengelo had a railway system which was crucial and a strategical important point for the Germans. So the Allies wanted to, get rid of that. So at the October 6th, the Allies tried to bomb this railway station and the industry buildings, but they failed to actually hit this place and were actually destroying the city center, a huge part of it. And a lot of people were dying, and also a lot of Germans and Dutch people. On October 7th, the Allies attacked again and succeeded this time with attacking the railway station. So I will go into detail into the storyboard now. We start off introducing the story, like the story setting was showing a Marauder, the famous planes of the Allies, to basically make clear that we are in the World War II. We are going over with match cuts to the toy plane of one of our protagonists, Hans, who is running gleefully with his older sister Anna, through Hengelo 1944. We get an establishment shot of Hengelo 1944 and follow the siblings who kind of forget their surroundings while they're playing. And while they are playing, they also don't see that there's a German officer standing on the way, and Anna bumps right into him. He's a bit angry looking, so they are scared, of course. It's a very intimidating German officer, and they run away. So when they approach their destination, of course, the toy store, they gaze through the windows and see really nice looking toy models. And they enter the store and greet the store owner, which name is Hendrik. I'm sorry. He's 60 years old, and he's very beloved by the children because he is giving them some kind of escape of the war world, and he is it's just basically a refuge for the children there. They can be children in his store. So Hans and Anna are joining their friends who are already there playing, and while they're playing, the magic of their imagination brings the toys somewhat to life and makes them forget the bad war outside of the toy store. So we turn back to Hendrik, and we see that all of that magic was actually in the heads of the children. And Hendrik is part of the resistance. So he has a radio station in his back office, which is very dangerous to have in those times because Germans, of course, didn't want people to be in contact with the Allies. Most of the times, those radio signals of the Allies were coming in around 4 o'clock. So Hendrik is turning on the radio and hears an unsettling message. But as soon as he can hear the details about it, the doorbell is ringing and the German officer is entering the toy store, which causes, of course, a lot of tension. And in the end, it turns out he just wants to buy a nice toy for his own son. where we wanted to show that, yeah, those people were also only humans, and that they also were maybe tired of the war and just wanted to let go of all of this. So yeah, Hendrik is relieved, but he still knows, okay, well, I feel like there will happen something bad during the next days. He doesn't know when, he doesn't know exactly where, but he knows it. So he closes up the store, and yeah, at the next day, the children stand in front of a devastated toy store, of course, pretty sad, and they find the glasses of their beloved toy store owner, Hendrik, which, yeah, where we think that he didn't make it, but he's luckily there to comfort the children. And as they want to leave, we can hear planes approaching from the distance because, yeah, the Americans attack the second day as well. And we just leave it as some kind of open ending. What is actually going to happen after this? Will they make it? Will they make it not? We don't know, because war is uncertain and unfair. And yeah, that's our message that we want to convey. So yeah, that was the storyboard. Now we'll go ahead talking a bit about our visual research. When creating a world that actually exists, it is really crucial that you pay attention to a lot of details, so you don't break the immersion of this of the setting that you want to create, right? So we did our best and went to museums to actually check, like, what was the feeling of the time period, what were those details that made those time periods what they are. And we created some collections of visual research for the toys, for the architecture, and for the clothing. And yeah, as you can see, also gathered some information about the fabrics that were used and the patterns. Like women were wearing dresses mainly, and with nice patterns and colors, more of like nude colors. And yeah, that's basically it about the visual research.
Okay, show the render then. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. So now we will show the rendered part of our pre-visualization of the story. The whole 3D previs will be a pretty good jump-off point that will later be used to make the post-production and the final movie. As you can see here, this is a cash register that has been made in Maya, and later then textured in Substance Painter. So this is the toy store. This is the inside of the toy store. And here you see people walking. The movement of all the characters were made using an Xsense motion tracking suit. We had to act out all the movements in real life and then later apply them to the digital characters. Dan will later explain more about how this is done in more detail. All the assets for the models were first made as a blockout, so like a simple version of it. And then we made a blockout scene out of them. That's also the one you just saw. Later, we made more detailed versions, or 3D team made more detailed versions of all the assets. And then they were UV mapped and later thrown into a program called Substance Painter, where we added textures so they would look how they would look in the final movie, and then added to our pre-visualization scene, which would then be rendered out. So here you see a scene made in After Effects. The toy plane is an actual prop that was created, and I painted up to look the way it did. And then it was filmed in the studio in front of a green screen, and then edited later into effects, and then through compositing, details and layers were added to make it look more like they're actually flying in the sky. So yeah, we will now go to Dan, who will about.
We gaan eventjes. Wan, we gaan eventjes naar jou.
Okay. So we're having technical difficulties. Yeah. So we're having difficulties at the moment, where we can't further show you more of the footage and more of the audio. So we'll have to wait for a moment.
We can go again? Yeah?
Yeah? Okay, we'll switch back to Dan. Apparently
Can we
our
go back to the
technical
toy
issues
store?
have been fixed for now.
That'd be great. It's me. Yeah, great.
Actually, it looks good now.
So yeah,
They didn't get anything.
start from the beginning? Fuck! Okay. Well, here we go again. So, there's the whole part from Corona on. Yeah. So, well, one of the biggest challenges we had during the minor was, of course, Corona. Goes for everyone. We couldn't get. Well, at first we planned on getting actors, getting a whole set, so all the people there together. But yeah, Corona happened. We're not allowed to do that. So we had to figure out a new way to still make our movie. So in order to get a substitute for the characters, the actors that we couldn't have, we went to the XR lab at Saxion, where they had an Xsense motion capture bodysuit. It's like this black wetsuit with all these sensors on all the limbs, as you can see here. And it records a person's motion. And then in a digital world, you get a skeleton that follows the movements of an actor. Exactly. So we got famous Dutch actor Laurens ten Den to record some movements for us, which is really great. And we converted that to our 3D scene through by using a Mixamo character at first, because no one in our team is really into 3D modeling of characters, which is like a whole art on itself. So we used these pre-made characters and retextured them to make them look like our characters. Yeah. I always forget what's next. Right. So the actors. Those, but then of course we didn't have a set to record on or the world to play in because the whole city center was bombed. None of those buildings exist anymore. Yeah. So we had to recreate Hengelo from 1944. So in order to do that, we got in contact with City Hall in Hengelo, where we got a lot of blueprints from various buildings in the Molenstraat and just all around town. And we went to Studio Berends, also in Hengelo, where we got a lot of reference pictures from those times, because they, of course, had photography and took pictures of the street and places. Can we show some of those pictures, maybe? Right? No? Well, we have a lot of pictures. Just trust me, it's true. We showed them all a minute ago when everything broke, but I'll just keep talking. Using these pictures, and we also had this map of Hengelo and from 1944, and I tried to match these pictures with their locations in Hengelo by just looking and trying to guess where they were taken based on the buildings that I could see. And using that, I made this map of references so we could get a really good idea of what the Molenstraat looked like. And we really got almost most of the buildings, at least vague pictures of, so we can really recreate an accurate version of the Molenstraat. And one of the important buildings, of course, is the toy store where everything takes place. That's where I am right now. Of course, the outside is gone. And yeah, the inside we based on a store in Deventer that we might be able to use. So yeah, now we have actors, a location, and we can render everything out, hopefully. Yeah, then I had a toy train to show, maybe, which is one of the, no, we don't have that. So our final goal for the minor is creating a art book with all our research and all our concept art and the 3D models we made, and just trying to create a really pretty book that shows all the work that went into it, and which will also be a great reference for the people making the movie possibly in the future. And we'll make this 3D pre-visualization of the movie, which will probably render in Unreal. That's what we're planning right now. Because, well, the pre-visualization you saw now is a pre-visualization of the pre-visualization. The final render will be much more high quality and detail. So it's going to be a movie and a book, hopefully. And yeah, that was it. And now we have time for questions from you, the audience. And it can be about anything, the story, the models, whatever. This is the whole store. I got some ducks. And I cannot read the chat from here. So if someone wants to yell out a question, if they can read it, that'd be great. The model buildings. Can we? Can we move the camera in Unreal? Just zoom out? Get me out of this store? Yeah? Oh, okay, that's gonna happen soon. Oh yeah, we also have those renders, but it might be cool to just have this happening in this place.
Would be actually cool, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just keep talking and we'll see when it happens. Eventually, we're just gonna zoom out and I'll be gone. Yeah, so
More questions?
more questions. Yeah, we can also switch back to Joanna if that's a movie. Or things about the story, the storyboard itself. We did cool research. Maybe you want to know some more about that.
Can you get standing on the table?
Can I get standing on the table? No, there is
Like
no
what?
table actually. There's just green screen.
Well, we could play something.
If you bring that table over here, where you're standing behind, I can climb on a table.
But I don't know if it will work
grab a
with the
chair.
green
What?
screen.
Was working with Miximo.
No. Well, it was quite a lot of trouble to get the Xsense output to match with the Miximo output. At first, I used the auto retargeting in Maya itself using a human bone definition. I'm not sure what the name was anymore, but that gave a weird offset to the root motion, so the model would not be in the same place as the skeleton when it moved. It would move further away from it. So instead, I wrote my own script in Python in order to constrain all the bone rotations from one skeleton to the other, which worked really well, and it just followed it nearly exactly. So that took a while, and the script is still kind of fluky sometimes, but in the end, it okay, I'm in the corner now. But yeah, it works, and it's
Oh yeah, we can actually
would you look at that? Here you see de Molenstraat recreated. It is as if we are in 1944 again. I can feel sweet air on no cars because it was war and there weren't many cars.
the gunpowder
Yeah,
of the bombings.
we're right now at the Brinkplein, which is still there, sort of. It's kind of where the old market is. Big market square in Hengelo with big tower. That's where we're looking towards right now, basically. Yeah. Questions?
What will you use David to store for?
Oh, right. What will we use the David to store for is the question. So the plan is to still record in the future our group and possibly ourselves included as well. And then we will need a physical location. And if we base our pre-visualization on an actual location, it will be much easier to film on that actual location with the same movements, with the same places. Why are we using real-time rendering? Is that a question?
I mean, we are for the presentation, but not really for the movie.
Yeah, we're not gonna use real-time rendering. We will render out our video in not real time probably. That is the plan, at least. Right now, we have everything rendered out in Maya, in Arnold renderer, which is not really working to the way we want it with all the lighting. And as you can see, the Unreal scene already looks really pretty. So if we can render in a non-real-time way in here, that will be great.
Je staat het verhaal in het tuindorp, maar je hebt geen visual.
We
Behalve voor de achtergroep is ook.
That's two questions. So we start the story in Tuindorp was the question.
That was actually we toyed a bit with that idea, but the distance between Tuindorp and the Molenstraat is like pretty far apart, and we didn't want the story to like drag along. So it starts in somewhere in the Molenstraat, where the children are running towards the toy store.
Yeah, it starts from the crossing in the Nieuwestraat towards the crossing with the Brinkstraat, if I know my streets correctly. At first we did think of Tuindorp indeed, but yeah, then the children would have to run like 2 kilometers maybe, which is hard to do excitedly for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's why we scrapped the idea of doing Tuindorp. And the second part of the question was...
about the movie being in English. It's not going to be in English. It's going to be in Dutch with some parts of the German soldier that will be in German, but there will be subtitles for that part.
Yes, indeed. We'll render in Unreal. And I do not know what the name of the render in Unreal is. We tried Arnold as well and Maya software, but those were both not really great.
There's a hand raise, I think. Remco Mikkers.
Remco Mikkers? That's our teacher. Hello,
Our
Remco.
boss wants to talk.
We'll let him talk.
My mic work? Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me?
Talk about what? Well, we have a beautiful store, and that's a Bob Ross painting actually up there. Wait, I'm mirrored. It's up there.
You're pointing at the right one.
Yes, almost.
Just say the words. Onderhand. Yeah, that's what he did. It's just a delay, so it's...
Does my mic work?
No more questions? Then we might be around.
In the studio, they cannot hear me properly.
I see an audio person running, doing parkour through the scene. Oh, but I hear myself. What? Remco Mikkers.
Yeah, does my mic work? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I'll explain in the
delay.
my guidance class that there can be some scenes in the Tuindorp, and it has to do with elliptical editing. But we'll get back to that subject.
Can you wait for one moment? We'll have to fix some technical difficulties. Right?
Nee. Of was uw vraag, Remco?
Nee, ik wacht even op jullie. Kan ik nu wat vragen?
Oké. Yes.
Okay, there's ontzettend delay. Well, I do not agree on the fact on the whole Tuindorp sequence, but it's actually has to do with elliptical storytelling. But I'll get back to you upon that in the guidance class. In elliptical storytelling, it is an editor. It is a montage you can do, where you can have traveled big distances in just a couple of shots time. So that's a suggestion I'm going to discuss with you on Friday afternoon.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I maybe also mention that part of the reason why we chose not to do Tuindorp is due to that would mean us having to recreate another street, multiple streets, maybe even in 3D for that to render. Because right now we have the whole toy store, which was a significant amount of work to make all those buildings. And just for a few shots of children running, having to recreate a lot of buildings would be a lot of efforts that didn't really seem appropriate for the amount of time of footage that we would have.
Okay, but this is also not
sense.
This is not for the previous or the digital version. This is, let's say, for the actual movie version. So that's what I wanted to talk. Let's get to that on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely understand about the whole modeling part, but if you're talking about previs and then final, final product, let's say with real movie, that part is something to be discussed. But by that time, you guys will have probably finished the minor.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hans.
But we'll get back. We'll get back to it. Okay.
All right.
Okay, Herman wants to say something.
Ah, Herman.
Are like switching?
Talk.
we can't-
Oh wait, I'm just
Yeah,
gonna have to
Herman
talk
right now.
until Herman shows up, I guess. Well, these calls are really interesting because we have like a 5-second delay. So whenever I try to like reply to something, it feels really weird because I also hear myself, which is great.
Herman needs to keep his hand up if you want to.
Okay, Herman, if you want to talk in the thing, you have to keep your hand up for a moment, and then our control team to like turn the microphone on.
I think he means you have to continually hold it up while talking and don't put it down. Or
We have another
right?
question as well.
Yeah.
You happy with?
Okay.
And he has to unmute himself.
Wink, wink.
Hey, so we're here. Can you hear me?
Hello.
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 Yes,
So
we do.
this is kind of the typical example of, everything that can go wrong will go wrong, right? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Not
okay.
exactly.
Nothing went wrong.
It could have gone
Hey,
worse.
look, I love
It could indeed have been worse, but some
presentation.
things did go wrong,
You
indeed.
live and you learn.
But the show must go on, as they say in show business.
Exactly. And the only thing I wanted to say is I get it. Well done. I love the ending. Okay. And a pity about the sound. I would rather, because you did work with the actor. Do you have sound bites from that?
Yes, we did indeed record him doing all his voice lines.
Do you have maybe an example for that?
Do we? No, we do not, the audio room says.
Okay. Anyways, well done up until
Wait
now, guys.
until the end of January and you will see it in the full movie. Or on the blog.
Yay!
The AV room.
I love the last one. Okay, have a good one, everyone.
Bye. Okay, so another question. Are you happy with your work so far? It looks really good. No, thank you for the complimentje. Compliment, I guess. Yes, I would say I'm very happy with the work we've done so far. Of course, it's a little bit of a twist and turn how all things like went, because of Corona there were some uncertainties, and we had to pull over the entire plan a couple of times, but I could, and the learning calls. But I would say generally I can say for most people that we're happy about it.
Yes, I agree.
So, any more questions?
Yeah. If there are no more questions, then we can round off and call it a day.
And maybe see you.
And see you at the end of January at the premiere of Het
Speelhuis. Thank you very much for joining our presentation. We hope we were entertaining and that you were impressed.
Nope. And I'm gonna jump the room.
Bye-bye.
Oh, fuck.